You know, there's a question that's been on my mind lately, and it might sound a little dramatic, but stick with me. What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this, there could be silent threats creeping into your life, slowly stealing your health without you even realizing it? Scary thought, isn't it? But here's the good news. Once you know what these silent killers are, you can take simple, practical steps to avoid them and add years, maybe even decades, to your life. After 60, our bodies change, and so do the risks we face. Some of these dangers don't come with flashing warning signs. No chest-clutching drama like in the movies. Instead, they're quiet, subtle, and easy to ignore until it's too late. That's why today we're going to talk about 5 of these silent killers, and more importantly, how you can outsmart them. Now let's start with the first one, something so common that most of us don't even think twice about it: loneliness. You might be thinking, how could feeling lonely possibly be dangerous? Well, research shows that chronic loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It weakens your immune system, raises blood pressure, and even increases the risk of dementia. And here's the tricky part. You don't have to be physically alone to feel lonely. You could be surrounded by people and still feel disconnected. So, what can you do about it? First, recognize it. If you've been feeling isolated, don't brush it off as just part of getting older. Reach out, call an old friend, join a club, or even volunteer. Small interactions add up. And if you're watching this and thinking of someone who might be feeling lonely, pick up the phone and give them a call. You could be saving a life without even realizing it. Now, the second silent killer is one we often underestimate: a sedentary lifestyle. It's easy to slow down as we age. Joints ache, energy dips, and before you know it, you're spending more time in your favorite chair than anywhere else. But here's the truth. Sitting too much is like pressing fast forward on aging. It weakens muscles, slows circulation, and can lead to heart disease, diabetes, and even depression. But don't worry. I'm not saying you need to run a marathon. The key is just to keep moving. Take short walks around the house, stretch while watching TV, or try gentle exercises like Tai Chi or water aerobics. Find something you enjoy, because the best exercise is the one you'll actually do. And remember, even 5 minutes here and there makes a difference. Now, before we move on to the next silent killer, let me ask you this. Have you ever skipped a meal because you just weren't that hungry? Or maybe you found yourself eating the same few foods out of habit. That brings us to our third danger: poor nutrition. As we age, our bodies need fewer calories, but they need more of certain nutrients, like protein, fiber, and vitamins. Yet many older adults fall into the trap of tea and toast syndrome, eating just enough to get by but not enough to thrive. The fix? Focus on nutrient-dense foods, lean proteins, colorful fruits and veggies, whole grains. And don't forget, hydration. Dehydration can sneak up on you, causing confusion, dizziness, and even hospital visits. Keep water nearby and sip throughout the day. We'll talk about the remaining silent killers in just a moment, but for now, I want you to think about these first 3. Loneliness, sitting too much, and poor nutrition. They're all things we can start changing today, one small step at a time. And trust me, your future self will thank you for it. You know, it's funny. Sometimes the things that seem the most harmless are the ones that can do the most damage over time. We've already talked about loneliness, sitting too much, and poor nutrition. 3 silent killers that sneak up on us after 60. But there are 2 more that I want to share with you today, and they might surprise you. Let's start with the 4th silent killer: ignoring regular checkups. Now, I get it. Doctor's appointments aren't exactly fun. Maybe you've told yourself, if I feel fine, why bother? Or perhaps you've put off that blood test or blood pressure check because, well, life gets busy. But here's the thing. Many of the biggest health risks after 60, like high blood pressure, diabetes, and even some cancers, don't give obvious warning signs until they've already done serious damage. Think of it like your car. You wouldn't wait for the engine to smoke before checking the oil, right? Your body's the same way. Catching small issues early can mean the difference between a simple fix and a major health crisis. So, make those appointments. Get your annual physical, keep up with screenings, and don't shrug off little symptoms like fatigue or shortness of breath. Your future self will be glad you did. Now let's talk about the fifth silent killer. And this one's a bit sneaky because it's not something you can see or touch. It's chronic stress. You might be thinking, stress? At my age? I've retired. What do I have to stress about? But stress doesn't always come from work or big life changes. It can come from financial worries, family concerns, or even just the frustration of dealing with aches and pains. The problem is, when stress sticks around for too long, it becomes like a slow poison. It weakens your immune system, raises your risk of heart disease, and can even speed up memory loss. So what's the antidote? First, recognize when you're feeling stressed. Maybe it's a clenched jaw, trouble sleeping, or just feeling irritable. Then find ways to unwind that work for you. Maybe it's deep breathing, gardening, listening to music, or even just laughing with a friend. The key is to make relaxation a habit, not just something you do when you're already at your breaking point. Now, before we wrap up this part, I want to remind you of something important. None of these silent killers are unbeatable. In fact, the moment you start paying attention to them, you've already taken the most important step. Small changes, like calling a friend, taking a short walk, or scheduling that checkup you've been putting off, can make a world of difference. And in the next part, we'll bring it all together. How to turn these warnings into real everyday habits that keep you feeling strong, healthy, and full of life. Because here's the truth. Getting older isn't about avoiding risks. It's about outsmarting them. You know, when we're young, we tend to think of health as something that just happens. Our bodies bounce back easily, and we don't give much thought to the small choices we make each day. But after 60? Well, let's just say our bodies become a little more honest with us. They start keeping score. And that's not a bad thing, because it means every positive change we make now pays off in big ways down the road. We've covered 5 silent killers so far. Loneliness, sitting, too much, poor nutrition, skipping checkups, and chronic stress. But here's what I really want you to take away. Avoiding these dangers isn't about fear or drastic overhauls. It's about small, consistent acts of self-care that add up to something powerful. Let's talk about how to put this into practice. First, think about connection. If loneliness is the silent killer, then meaningful relationships are the antidote. And I'm not talking about having hundreds of friends. Just 1 or 2 people you can be real with makes all the difference. Pick up the phone today. Send that letter you've been meaning to write. Join that community group that's always intrigued you. The world is still full of people who need exactly what you have to offer. Now, about movement. Remember, we're not training for the Olympics here. The goal is simply to not let your body rust from disuse. Could you park a little farther from the store entrance? Do some gentle stretches during the morning news? Dance in your kitchen to an old favorite song? Your body was made to move, and it's never too late to remind it of that joy. When it comes to food, here's a simple rule. Eat the rainbow. No, not candy. I'm talking about colorful fruits and vegetables that pack a nutritional punch. Make your plate as vibrant as possible, and you'll be giving your body the tools it needs to keep going strong. And don't forget, hydration is key. Keep water where you can see it, and sip throughout the day. As for those checkups, think of them as your personal maintenance schedule. Just like you'd change the oil in your car to prevent bigger problems, these appointments help catch small issues before they become big ones. Put them on your calendar, like any other important commitment, because what's more important than your health? And finally, stress. Here's my favorite piece of advice. Learn the art of the pause. When you feel tension rising, stop. Breathe deeply 3 times. Look around and find one beautiful thing to focus on. A bird outside, a cherished photo, even the way sunlight falls across the floor. These small moments of mindfulness act like pressure valves, releasing stress before it builds up. Here's the beautiful truth. Every single one of these changes is within your reach. You don't need fancy equipment or expensive solutions, just the willingness to show up for yourself day after day. And when you stumble, that's okay. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about direction. So tell me in the comments, which of these silent killers resonated most with you? What small change will you make today? Your experience could be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and share it with a friend. You might be giving them the nudge they need to take control of their health too. Remember, getting older isn't about counting years. It's about making those years count. Here's to your health, your happiness, and all the good days ahead. Now go enjoy them. You've earned it.